Oh, hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on which part of this beleaguered country that you're in. You're watching Rebel Roundup, Rebel News' daily news and opinion show. I'm your host, Sheila Gunn Reid, and I'm joined by my colleague and Thursday co-host from Coburg, Ontario, Tamara Ugolini. Tamara, how's it going?
Well, it is a wild Thursday, but nice to be back on the live stream. And I missed last week. So I do feel a little bit rusty always when I have like those weeks and a couple of days of a break in between.
I
It's
wish.
sometimes odd. I know. I'm preaching to the wrong choir on this one, but it's always fun to come back, but I always do feel a little bit rusty. So otherwise good. How are you doing, Sheila?
Oh, I'm doing well. The biblical raining has stopped potentially for a couple of days where we're at, so might be able to get some farm work done. Who knows? Before we get into what the show is all about, I just want to put something on everybody's radar. If you're in the Toronto area and you love independent journalism, this is your opportunity to both support it and celebrate it. Many of you know that I'm the president of the Independent Press Gallery of Canada. We advocate for the rights of independent journalists in this country against the mob, against the government, sometimes against other journalists, against censorship. And we offer training and supports also to independent journalists because you can feel alone out there in the world. And we want to make sure that when you take a swing at the bad guys, which is your job as an independent journalist, that you don't end up on the wrong side of a defamation lawsuit. So you can join at independentpressgallery.ca. But if you're not a member, like I said, and you want to support, or if you are a member and you want to celebrate your fellow independent journalists, the Independent Press Gallery Awards Luncheon takes place in Toronto on Sunday, August 30th. So about a month away. It's the IPG Awards Gala, where independent journalists from across the country, including some of our own here at Rebel News, submitted their stories for judging. And we had some independent judges, and they spent a lot of time judging the work. And we get to hand out awards, including cash prizes, to celebrate the work of independent journalists in this country. So if you are around, go to independentpressgallery.ca and join us. We're all going to be there. And just to be clear, even though I'm the president, my hands were completely out of the judging. We wanted to make sure the judging was as independent as the organization. So I didn't even know who submitted, what they submitted. We had a respected panel of 4 judges dedicate about 16-ish hours of their time to judging the work. So this was not just pick something fun, pick something that was your favorite, pick something that made you laugh. It wasn't like that at all. So we've got a video category, written category, investigative category, and there are some familiar faces in the finalists. And so best video, best written report, best investigative report, and $1,000 for first place, $500 for second place. And so anyways, if you are around and you want to support independent journalism and say hi to me, go to the independentpressgallery.ca and buy your ticket.
I think it's .com. Maybe
It's
both work.
.ca. I think it's .ca.
All right.
Yep.
There you have it. You get
Yep.
to meet
Oh,
some
it is
independent.
.com. I'm sorry, it is .com. I've been saying .ca this whole time. It is .com. Good for us. We got the .com. Yeah, it's independentpressgallery.com. Anyway, we'll put the link in the description of the show in case you're interested. Okay, if you are watching us on Rumble, excellent free speech platform. You want to support our work as independent journalists. You don't take any money from the government. You can leave a Rumble rant. That's our paid chat over there. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, we're reading it on air. If it's under that, we'll do our very best, time permitting. But boy, the show is packed.
Mhm.
Same rules apply on YouTube. Their paid chat is called a super chat. And if you miss the live version of the show, but you want to support our work, you can leave a paid comment called a super thanks. So those are the rules. Let's get into the show. CBC has identified the Canadian woman
Mm.
accused of spying at NATO military HQ. Systems engineer Bai Wei Zhang worked for the Canadian Space Agency and StatsCan. So all your private information that StatsCan has before she moved to Belgium as an intern at NATO. And we've got this clip. She's supposed to be in her 30s, um, entirely fluent in English, uh, born in China, Chinese national, I guess, with Canadian citizenship, and then immediately got a job with the government, and then prowled through some of the more sensitive agencies of the Canadian government, and then went to work at NATO. How did CSIS and security screening miss this at any point? Like, she worked for the space agency, you guys. Um, Anyways, we've got a video here from CBC News.
We begin tonight with exclusive new information you'll only see here about a Canadian intern accused of spying at NATO's military headquarters. A CBC News investigation has uncovered the identity of the woman arrested in Belgium last week on charges of espionage and of being a member of a criminal organization. Jonathan Gatehouse is breaking the story for us tonight about her impressive resume that includes a series of high-profile jobs in Canada and abroad.
This is Biwei Zhang. She also goes by Claire and Katina. She's in her 30s and is fluent in English, French, and Mandarin. And a CBC News investigation has determined that she's the Canadian intern accused of spying at NATO's military headquarters. She's built an impressive resume over the past decade, working at high-profile spots like the World Trade Organization in Switzerland and the European Space Agency in Italy. She's also worked for the Canadian Space Agency as a systems engineer in the Satellite Operations Department, and before that, as an economist with Stats Canada. But it's her most recent position at SHAPE, NATO's military headquarters near Mons, Belgium, that led to her arrest last week on charges of espionage and belonging to a criminal organization. The Belgian federal prosecutor sent out a press release in 3 languages, but has provided few details. Under Belgian law, suspects are not named until their charges go to trial. But CBC News was able to identify Zhang, unearthing her CV, academic writings, and various social media profiles, including this post last summer where she was looking for a room to rent for her internship at SHAPE. The charges have not yet been tested in court, and Zhang remains in custody. CBC News attempted to reach her through her various social media accounts, but has not yet received a response.
SHAPE at NATO is a coveted spot.
Dan Stanton is a former CSIS intelligence officer. He doesn't have any direct knowledge about this case, but says the most important element in espionage is opportunity.
Most of the biggest secrets in espionage aren't as a result of stealing files or accessing databanks. It's conversations. It's hearing things. Who do you know?
Even an internship at NATO requires a comprehensive security clearance, a months-long background check that would have fallen to the RCMP and CSIS since Zhang is Canadian. But CBC News has uncovered something that may have been overlooked, a Federal Court of Canada ruling. Back in 2019, Zhang applied for a job with the CBSA, submitting 2 forms under slightly different names, giving her 2 cracks at the application exam. The Public Service Commission determined that was fraud, a decision upheld by a 2024 judicial review.
So, Jonathan, what is...
Holy. So she fraudulently tried to get a job with the CBSA and then went on to work at the Canadian Space Agency as a systems engineer in the Satellite Operations Department. And prior to that, an economist with StatsCan. She worked at the World Trade Organization also. Did anybody at any point think it was weird that somebody with this resume wanted to intern, like start at the bottom at NATO? Nobody thought that was weird, hey? Isn't that odd?
Well, and nobody thought it was weird either that she was flagged as producing fraudulent applications to CBSA, but then went on to work for high-level government agencies. Maybe not the Canadian Border Services, but the Space Agency and StatsCan. I mean, welcome to having full access potentially to all of Canadians' data. Just another case in point why the government census isn't as safe and secure as they lead you to believe, because these are the kinds of individuals who are working behind the scenes at some of those government agencies. So if CBSA flagged this, how did she get into the space agency and into StatsCan?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's almost like we had a foreign interference commission on this sorts of stuff and nothing ever came of it.
Right.
Okay.
I like that the CBC, and credit to the CBC for doing
Getting this, yeah.
what their job is supposed to be, and that is investigate these sorts of issues. They write in here the national security concerns that it has prompted Public Safety Minister Gary Anandasangari to commit to investigating whether the person in question worked for any Canadian agencies. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that that did happen. But I don't trust or have much faith in Mr. Anandasangari to get to the bottom of any of this. I mean, these people repeatedly are inept and incompetent in their portfolios, and the fact that he has to recuse himself from Tamil Tigers situations just further proves, that he doesn't have the ability to effectively oversee such a crucial portfolio as public safety. I think there's a clip here also embedded a little bit further down of him, committing, I guess, to this investigation. But again,
yeah, we watched it yesterday, and it's pretty clear that the public safety agencies that fall under his purview failed. And all the red flags were there. Like, they were just dancing in the background, the red flags, when she was fraudulently applying for a job at the CBSA, and then from there still gets a job at StatsCan as a systems analyst, and then at the Canadian Space Agency in the satellite department. If you were a spy, that's like chef's kiss, perfect position for you. Yeah, so the same agencies that missed this are going to be the ones investigating this. Great. Can't wait to see how that turns out.
Right. That invokes a lot of confidence in their ability. And again, like CBSA, I think that would have been the front runner, obviously, and that's where she was flagged and did not obtain employment, but then went on to the space agency. And I mean, are we not communicating here? Does the left hand not know what the right hand's been up to? I mean, if this person was flagged by the CBSA, you'd think that would trickle down to other positions. Yeah,
it's wild. And then nobody thought, oh, this person who worked as a systems analyst and worked at the Canadian Space Agency, like high level positions at the age of 32, 33, and worked at the World Trade Organization, the European Space Agency, also in Italy. She worked there. Nobody thought it's weird that she wants to be a lowly intern at NATO.
Well, and it sounds like that's where she was ultimately arrested. I guess she's probably been detained, which is likely why the CBC can't reach her on her social media accounts. But Canada did nothing, right? Once again, Canada sat idly by, and it was another country's foreign intelligence flagging and actually taking action and doing something about this individual, not us here in Canada.
Yep. Let's go to this next video. This is a Canadian man confronting migrants dumping garbage into Brampton's Credit River, and then discovers something terrible in the garbage. Don't worry, it's not a body, but you might wish it was.
Why are you throwing garbage out in the river? No, I just saw you. Your plastic bag. Plastic bag is garbage in the Credit River. Only food. Oh, so you shot yourself and then threw your fucking shit in the fucking river? Oh my God.
Yeah, sorry, I should have warned everybody.
What is wrong with you guys? You're going on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah. Make public shaming great again.
Yep.
That
feces, bags of feces in the Credit River.
I
love our new Canada. I love it.
Welcome to your new Canada.
Yeah.
Where this behavior is normalized. But unless and until we have more people doing this kind of shaming, it will just continue to proliferate. And, sadly, that's the state that we're in.
Yeah. I would have gotten her license plate and then reported them for illegal dumping.
Exactly. I see so much now. I mean, I live fairly rurally and
Same.
everywhere it seems so much more commonplace. I mean, there was always people who would dump their garbage and you would see it here and there, but
Yeah.
it's almost all the time now. It's constantly,
Hmm.
you're seeing bags of trash just strewn about on these back roads and even multiple bags. And it's just
It's
so,
yeah,
it's so
it's like people's
heartbreaking.
household garbage, and it's the confluence of people who don't respect property rights, don't respect Canada's natural environment because they come from cultures that don't care. And um yeah, and then they just throw their garbage anywhere. Like it anyway, it's Oh,
And
and
you
what
have
there's one more role in this though, and that is the urban municipalities, their stupid garbage rules. Just pick up the garbage, please. Pick up the garbage, take it to the dump. Don't make people have to act like they work at the recycling center. Take it. And sometimes it becomes so onerous, so complicated, and so narrow that people are like, fine, I'll just fling it anywhere. If they
Mhm.
made it easier for you to get rid of your garbage, it wouldn't end up in my approach to my hayfield.
Yeah. Where are all the environmentalists on
Yeah.
this? I mean, littering, like this is such a big deal to them. So I sometimes I wonder where they are on this particular issue. But in my municipality, it is insane. It's like $4.50 per bag of garbage to put out. You have to buy
What?
garbage tags. Oh yeah,
What?
it's a whole thing. And I don't know anywhere else that does this. But in addition to the insane property taxes that we pay, we also have to pay for bag tags, and it's about four
Wow.
dollars. It might even be 4.75 now. My
You have
husband
a
usually
huge
handles that,
family.
but it's crazy. I mean, we only put out like one bag of garbage a week,
How
but
do you
still,
do that?
that adds up. we
How do you
burn,
do that?
we burn a lot.
Yeah, me too. You know what? I burn garbage for fun. Um,
Yeah,
because we have municipal garbage pickup where I live, and I live super rurally, but I don't like playing by their garbage rules. So I
yeah,
have a private garbage man who comes and just takes away my garbage. I don't have to sort it. He just takes it. I sort it if I want to, and I don't, so I don't. Everything that I can burn, I burn, and everything
mm,
else just goes into the garbage bag, and then they come take it away. And it's actually cheaper than the municipality and less complicated because I don't work for the recycling depot,
right.
please.
Yeah. Don't make me a
Anyway,
de facto recycler.
yeah.
Um, yes, but we burn a lot of most of our recycling, especially in the summer. And then it's just crazy how much, I mean, this municipality, Northumberland County, has, I think, about 800 thousand residents. All of them
Wow.
have to pay $4.50 per bag tag. That
What
is
a
an insane amount of revenue.
ripoff.
Yeah.
We
And
should ATIP
still, we
that. What are
can't.
they doing with that garbage money?
Oh, all of the CAOs and the COOs, they're all getting 30, 40% raises over the last 4 years.
Oh, okay. Well, good. One
That's where it
garbage bag
goes.
at a time. We've got speaking of the immigration problems in this country, this video, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada confirms dozens of people who traveled from wherever the hell they're from to Canada for the FIFA World Cup. So FIFA wasn't cheap to go to. It's not cheap to get to Canada. They got here and then they're like, I'm a refugee. Look at this.
Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada has confirmed to CTV News that dozens of people who traveled to Canada for the World Cup have claimed asylum here. 175 people who flagged World Cup 26 on their temporary residence applications before coming to Canada from a dozen different countries later submitted asylum claims. More than 26,000 people listed the tournament as their reason for visiting.
All right, I literally laughed out loud, I'm not kidding, when I watched this news report. So they're saying that people flew over for the FIFA World Cup and then claimed asylum. So let's just do the math on how much these people paid to fly over and attend these games. So in each of the cities where FIFA played in Canada, there were 6 to 7 matches. So let's just go with the low end with 6 matches. How much would it cost to fly over, buy tickets, you have your airfare, hotels, and food? So here's what the cost is for the games
Thousands.
themselves. And then you have the airline. This is just from Mexico to make it an international flight. And then you have the hotels, which you would need 10 to 14 nights to stay for all of those games, and food and transportation. So here is the breakdown of the cost. There are different prices that you could pay. You can go budget, you can go realistic, or you can go very comfortable. Let's just do like the realistic mid-range of someone would. Let's just go realistic, the mid-range of somebody flying over who wants to go see these games. With all of these expenses added up, they're likely paying about $8,000 to $11,000 to go fly over and attend the FIFA World Cup in one of the cities in Canada. Does somebody who spends, $8,000 to $11,000 on a vacation sound like somebody who needs to claim asylum in that country? I mean, we are truly living in clown world.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
well, and that presumes that at the border they were asking to see your tickets to FIFA, because they probably didn't. They probably said, like they do when I'm traveling somewhere and they say, "Why are you traveling?" And I say, "I'm a journalist." Sometimes they'll ask me for my press pass. Sometimes they'll ask me what story I'm covering or whatever. But like that's presuming CBSA said, "Okay, which FIFA games are you going to and can you show me your tickets?" I suspect that these people didn't do all of that. They just said, "Yeah, I'm going to FIFA," and then they get here and then they claim asylum with no tickets to FIFA at all, which means they got in they can't either way, whether they traveled to here to actually watch a FIFA game, which is outrageous, or they didn't and they came in by lying and saying they were going to a FIFA game. Either way, they came under false pretenses because their intent actually was not to come here to watch FIFA. It was come here to claim asylum. So go home and try again.
Yeah, I think it's very clear that the word is out that Canada's immigration
It would
system
just take
is
anybody.
ripe for the taking and ripe for exploiting. And so, hey, if we can get a free trip out of the deal, go broke going to FIFA and then claim asylum and hop on the backs of the Canadian taxpayers who will now pay up to like $80,000 or $90,000 a year for my room, my board, my clothing expenses, my taxi cabs, my hotel rooms. Sounds like a pretty good gig if you can get in on the action.
Yep. Yep. And then just one more story on the horrors of our immigration problems. This is from the National Post. Canada's just one intelligence failure away from a mass casualty event after a deadly year for Jews. The J7 annual report on anti-Semitism documented more than 23,000 Jew hatred incidents in 2025, including 20 killings. I'm not sure that our intelligence isn't failing us because, as we know, it's usually foreign intelligence that flags potential terror attacks to us, including the guy that was in the ISIS video butchering a Christian, and then was subsequently given his citizenship, and then his son came and they were plotting against Jews. That was flagged to us by foreign intelligence. And you look at this case with the NATO intern from China, that was also foreign intelligence that told us about this. It's usually not us.
Yeah, exactly. Case in point, earlier in the show, Biwei Zhang, who was flagged by, as you mentioned, foreign intelligence. I mean, again, Gary Anandasangri, our public safety minister, doesn't instill a whole lot of confidence, certainly doesn't instill much in the way of public safety when he has to recuse himself from files related to terrorist groups. So yeah, Canada's foreign intelligence agencies, knock, knock, where are you? Because we're all wondering. We have something like 700 IRGC agents just loose in the country. We have people who are here illegally due for deportation. We don't even quite know how many of them, but up to at least 500,000 that, again, we just have no idea where they are. I mean, Canada is like a dumpster fire for intelligence issues and failures. I think we're already there.
Yep. I just want to touch on these couple things that our operations manager flagged to me about Avi Lewis. And as you know, Avi Lewis sometimes is my muse because I think he's absolutely insane. He wants to do the Mamdani government grocery stores. He also thinks that Benjamin Netanyahu should not be able to fly over Canadian airspace. So he said, this is the third time in 6 months that Benjamin Netanyahu has flown through Canadian airspace. Netanyahu is wanted by the International Criminal Court, which is just like a kangaroo court of crazy people. Like, I guess I'm going to have my own gun international criminal court, and this is going to be the HQ, and I'm going to issue warrants for arrest. Like, this is like free men on the land stuff. I don't know why anybody takes the International Criminal Court seriously. But for some reason, Canada's a member. And Canada has the duty to arrest him if he enters the country. So I don't know what Avi Lewis wants us to do. Does he want us to shoot down Benjamin Netanyahu's plane and then arrest the wreckage? Like, he's not entering the country, he's just flying above Canadian airspace. And it's real interesting that he's so concerned about Benjamin Netanyahu just, 40,000 feet above Canada, when there are real terrorists on the streets of Toronto and Montreal all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if Avi Lewis is going to be the saving grace that the NDP is hoping for with such out of touch, nonsensical posts like this one. But I'm sure the left is just eating it up.
Oh yeah, and if people want to learn more about Avi Lewis, avilewis.com. go there. Head there. Wonder who controls that page.
Well, and then it's so ironic that at the same time I dislike
sorry everybody in advance.
Yeah, sorry in advance about this pink bubble pop background.
Oh, it's obnoxious.
But at the same time that he's basically, like calling for the aerospace takedown of Benjamin Netanyahu, he's saying that we should not be spending 2% of our economic spending on military, let alone 5%. And he wants to instead direct that to pharmacare. Have a listen to this.
Yeah.
And sorry in advance.
Yeah, sorry.
Scary right now.
It is.
But is this, arms race effectively that's happening? Does that help, or is that more dangerous? Do you support these military purchases?
No. I mean, I think overall the direction is really troubling.
Yeah.
And it highlights the very painful contradictions when the government is saying we can't afford pharmacare, we have to privatize our healthcare, we can't afford any climate policy, we're not going to have any policies that directly intervene in the market to address the cost of food, the cost of housing, the cost of everyday life. But we have hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars for weapons and war. Yeah. And I think, look, we're talking about arbitrary commitments of not percentages of our budget, percentages of our entire economy, dictated by NATO. And I think I'm the only federal politician that has actually said that it's my view that we shouldn't be spending 2% of our economy on the military, let alone 5%, which Carney has committed to. Carney has a national defense industrial strategy that foresees $500 billion of investment in the next decade on making Canada a major arms exporter. And I'm completely against that. I don't think we should be increasing arms exports by 50%. Who are we going to be selling all of these weapons to? Germany and France and traditional Western allies. Like, if you just want to take the conventional worldview, they're not buying our weapons. They're ramping up their own militaries. Who is it going to be that Canada's going to be selling weapons to? A lot of our current customers, Saudi Arabia, UAE.
Okay, that's enough of these two
Israel.
experts. Well, maybe Israel. Oh my Lord, maybe Israel. Just some advice to Rachel Gilmore pretending to be an active listener there. It's really obvious that you're looking at yourself in the camera and not checking your frame, right? Like, she's always looking down. And back the camera up like 2 inches. So your head's not all cut off. But they don't want us to have any military at all whatsoever. So what are we going to do? Send our grandmas to the border with the curling brooms to fight the Americans? Because they also want us to fight the Americans. They want us to shoot Netanyahu out of the sky. With what?
Yeah. How much do you think that would cost, Mr. Lewis?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to know. If we shouldn't be spending this on our military, how do we shoot Benjamin Netanyahu out of the sky? And then what? What?
I don't know.
On one hand, he's advocating for militaristic action while also advocating essentially to defund it. So, like, these people it does not make logical sense. It's so out of touch with reality, and go no further than this example as case in point.
Yep. Let's hit, you know what, before we go to an ad break, it was no joke. when we said that the left wants to send your grandmothers with the curling brooms down to the border, because I think it was Laura Babcock who said
Oh, I had it
that,
pulled up here. Hold on.
who
Yes,
tweeted about or posted on X, I'm
let me
sorry,
share it.
about sending senior citizens or senior citizens being weaponized by the elbows up rhetoric, and they were going to go to the border and just fight and die
Yeah,
defending Canada against
millions of
Donald
them.
Trump. Millions. Okay.
Millions of senior citizens
Yep.
and youth. And then this random woman, Linda Fletcher, chimed in. My husband told me the seniors at the curling club were talking about the US threat to Canada, and they would volunteer to be suicide squads, taking their weapons to the border to shoot
Every
as many
time I read
Americans as
that, it's so
possible.
crazy.
Like they're going to take their curling brooms and,
I know.
on guard.
Yeah.
This is
They're going to
so
hurry hard
incredibly
down to
laughable.
hurry hard down to the border and sweep the Americans to death.
Yeah. Watch out for those curling club seniors. They're on their way.
But it speaks to a broader issue about the state of mind of a certain demographic of Canadian senior citizens, i.e. the left-wing boomers. If you're a right-wing boomer, get out of my email. Unless, like, please, I'm not talking about you.
Right.
But I saw this from Blacklocks today. I'm going to do a quick little commentary on it because it ties into something I saw on CBC with the Forever Canadian people. But women over 65 are most concerned about plastic pollution, says Environment Canada demographic data. And it follows on an earlier study that they had. It was a psychosocial research showing that senior citizens, now I'm not saying all senior citizens, because I know plenty of Western boomers, let's call them bloomers, that love burning garbage as much as me. But they are the biggest climate warriors. And I have a theory about that. Efron or Olivia, it's the first video under the Alberta section of our agenda. They tell you what the problem is here. They tell you why they're climate warriors. If you listen carefully, you see CBC went to a Forever Canadian, most definitely not a campaign event in Airdrie, and they found that they appear to be just a bunch of bored grandmas looking for something to do with their time. It's a quilting circle. Just watch.
Have you seen one of these yet? So this is Choose Unity. This is our sign campaign. Forever Canadian is one of the most visible groups on the unity side of Alberta's separation debate, and it's hosting these pop-up events almost every day. The group says it now has 18,000 volunteers. So we visited volunteers at a pop-up in Airdrie to find out what motivates them.
Look
This all started happening last year. I was sitting at home feeling quite disturbed about what's
Sitting at
happening
home.
and is everything not working anymore? And then I thought, maybe I should do something about that. And then I volunteered at the library to collect signatures, and I was amazed at how many people were sitting at home just like me. It was the most uplifting situation that I have been in for a very long time.
It's so good.
We spoke with several volunteers. They said they keep active because it helps them feel connected and because it feels positive.
I remember other situations where people were unhappy, and I just feel that people need to come together and unite. Once you start doing that, it grows. Positive attitudes create more positive attitudes, and I think that's what will help everyone just come together and unite Canada.
So we're collecting signatures? Forever Canadian is the same group that collected signatures
Okay,
last
that's
year.
enough.
It says it was trying to...
So what did you notice there, friends at home? These are a bunch of bored grandmas with nothing to do, and they want to feel like they're doing something positive. They're sitting at home, and so they get obsessed with recycling, and then they get obsessed with Thomas Lukaszuk and fighting the separatist threat. But really, they just need you to come visit them. Bring the bridge board, or bring the cards, bring the crib board, Go down there, visit with your grandma, ask her to teach you how to quilt, and you will rescue her from left-wing extremism, climate hysteria, and the elbows up crowd. Just go do that.
Yeah. And this is also the demographic who, as pointed out, is sitting at home bored, watching CBC. This is the demographic who's taking up more of that government propaganda arm of the media than any other demographic in this country. And look at where it's ended these poor women. And also, I just have to point out, everything that they're touching, wearing, and partaking in here is plastic.
And made in China.
Made in China.
Yeah. This is such a fixable problem. Visit your grandmas, visit your great aunties, just get out there. Just go see them. Otherwise, you know who will see them? Thomas Lukasik. Okay. Let's hit an ad break. We'll come back on the other side.
Say, folks, I have an announcement to make. For years now, Rebel News has been taking supporters out to sea on our annual cruise. I am officially joining the News Cruise, November 28th to December 5th, 2026. Here's the big picture. This year, Rebel News is teaming up with our friends at Juno News for the very first time, making the News Cruise a true joint venture between two of Canada's most watched independent newsrooms. And the lineup sailing with me, you ask? Well, the big boss man Ezra Levant, he'll be there, of course, the man who has never once in his life been at a loss for words, which should make for excellent dinner conversation, or at least a very long conversation. Cian Bexley will be joining us too. Younger than me, of course, better hair than me, and knowingly good at his job. You'll want to sit across from Cian at dinner. And John Carpay, the brilliant constitutional lawyer from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, he will also be on board, which means if the captain tries to infringe on anyone's rights, we've got legal counsel on the Lido deck. We board Holland America Line's gorgeous MS Eurodam in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on Saturday, November 28th, and we don't come back until Saturday, December 5th, 7 full nights in the Eastern Caribbean. And there will be private receptions and candid, off-the-record conversations, the kind you will never see on any screen. And each evening at dinner, we will be rotating seats. So over the course of the week, you will sit across the table from all of us, not watching from a distance, not through a camera, across the table. Cabins are limited, and I cannot stress this enough. Every single cruise Rebel News has ever run has sold out. This year, with Juno News joining forces, demand is going to be even higher. So if you are on the fence, get off that fence and get on the boat. Visit thenewscruise.com to explore cabins and pricing. Please come join us. You just can't lose when you do the cruise.
In Canada, firearms owners like me understand the importance of safe, effective self-defense options. That's why we're proud to have Byrna as a sponsor. Byrna's less lethal launchers are designed to help protect you and your family without taking a life. Byrna offers peace of mind, accessibility, and a practical layer of personal security for Canadians who value safety. Learn more at byrna.ca/rebel. That's byrna.ca/rebel.
Canada's been told to just quit smoking for decades, same message over and over, and yet millions of Canadians still smoke. So let's ask a follow-up question. For those who don't quit, what about change? In 2026, Canada has options that didn't exist years ago. Smoke-free alternatives for adults who would otherwise continue smoking. That doesn't mean risk-free, it means informed choice. If you don't smoke, don't start. If you smoke, quit. But for those who don't quit, change could still be part of the conversation. That's why Canadians should check out unsmoke.ca, an information resource focused on smoke-free alternatives and honest facts, not judgment. Put the lighter down, Canada. Learn what your options are.
For generations, many Canadians have preserved more than just firearms.
Many of our men and women
They've preserved history, tradition, competition, memories. But under Trudeau, and now Carney, heirlooms, estates, collectibles, and competition firearms now have to be surrendered and destroyed. While violent gun criminals get pass after pass, openly ignoring any legislation, lawful gun owners are trapped in an increasingly unfair legal system. But we can help. Canada's National Firearms Association's Save Firearms program offers the legal pathway to preserve what matters, while we work towards a political solution. Don't let yours be next. Save history. Save heritage. Save firearms. Visit nfa.ca today to learn more.
All right, I'm going to go into a quick Rumble Wallet ad read, and then we'll get into this Fauci testimony and the stuff they're trying to memory hole out of all of our minds. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part that most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you've felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all of that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stablecoins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me and us at Rebel News directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. All right, I know you guys chatted a little bit about it yesterday on the stream, but Fauci was in Congress yesterday just pleading the fifth. I think by official counts, it was like 111 times over that he actually invoked his right to remain silent.
But he didn't have that right. He didn't have that right because he was pardoned.
Yeah, he was preemptively pardoned by Biden about a year and a half ago. And don't forget, this was the face of the pandemic response. Like, he loved the attention. He loved to talk. He wanted to be front and center. He was the science. He was the holy grail of all things pandemic response, evidence. And if you so much as questioned him, you were questioning the entire scientific method, and you were coined as some sort of conspiracy theorist, selfish grandma killer, was the narrative at the time in early 2020 and into 2021. And so it's so ironic that now, 6 years later, Dr. Anthony Fauci, all of a sudden, cat's got his tongue. He can't speak. He can no longer attest to the science he claimed to be clinging so fervorously to. This is just a clip here of him invoking his Fifth Amendment right, the same, constitutional rights that he squashed on the entirety of the US population, and then by extension, North America, because here in Canada, we just basically followed suit, as we often do. Health Canada usually just follows suit with whatever the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, whatever they do, we're close behind.
Or we do it worse.
Or we do it worse. And so here's just a clip of Fauci, one of the 111 times he invoked his right to silence.
Efron, are you going to show that?
These fingers and scalps.
Oh, this
off
is the
heads
first
of
one.
Aborted babies.
Listen.
And putting them into the backs of research mice. The scalps later grew fine baby hair in the mice. They even included those disgusting photos in their research paper that you funded. Not all of those were research on coronaviruses, but some were. Thankfully, the current NIH director has said no more of this. Dr. Fauci, yes or no? Do you think that human aborted parts should be put into mice for coronavirus research?
The advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
NIH funded
Yeah,
putting aborted
that's-
babies' fingers and scalps off the heads of aborted babies. And
That's
putting
good,
them
Efron.
into
That's Mengele stuff right there. That is like Nazi concentration camp, human experiment level stuff. And that's what he was doing in the name of fighting the coronavirus. No wonder he doesn't want to talk about it because, I mean, how do you justify that? How do you justify any of that? I mean, he's pleading the fifth, not because it's his constitutional right, out of shame. I hope it's out of shame.
If he has a soul at
Yeah,
this
I don't
point.
know. You can't if you're doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
And on the Fauci cat got your tongue stuff, back in 2022, he said he was willing to testify in front of any congressional oversight committee. He had nothing to hide. Why don't we show that clip? It's the last one on, or second last one on the list. Efron. Oh, his evil man fingers too.
Look, he loved it. Look at him. He's here
Yeah.
right front and center in front of the cameras, ready to talk, ready to take action, ready to be the science.
Mhm.
And now, just yesterday, he needed a lawyer to attest to the
And then
science.
his lawyer was tossed out. Let's watch this.
Well, if I become a punching bag, I'm a punching bag, but I am very happy to testify before any
Oh, okay.
congressional oversight committee. I have nothing to hide. I can explain and validate everything that I've done. So, you know, it's going to be inconvenient if they actually are out there essentially threatening to make my life miserable. But I'm going to do what I need to do, and that is cooperate fully because we have nothing to hide at all.
Yeah. So 4 years later, that clip didn't age very well, did it?
No.
He obviously has a lot to hide because nothing quite says I'm ready to be open, transparent, and honest, and I trusted the science, like pleading the fifth.
Well, and one of the things he was hiding was a pulmonary infarction, so a blood clot in his lung as a vaccine side effect. The same thing he was telling people that was a conspiracy theory. If you thought that you could potentially get a blood clot, like my friend Lise did when she took the vaccine as a way to cope with extreme isolation anxiety. She ended up with a blood clot in her arm. And the only reason I'm saying that is because she's talked about it publicly on TV, on this stream. And we all know somebody who took the vaccine not because they thought it worked, but because they were combating loneliness or potentially unemployment or the inability to feed their kids. They were not taking the vaccine as an inoculation against a disease, but rather some consequence of not taking the vaccine, societal unemployment or otherwise. But this liar, he had a blood clot in his lung and he didn't and he still clung to the safe and effective. And if you said it wasn't, or if you had any reservations, well, you were an extremist anti-vaxxer, and he kept that from the public. Let's watch that. Ron, it's the clip titled Ron to Fauci.
Yeah, Senator Ron Paul. Or Ron Johnson.
Your diaries
Ron Johnson.
now show that you actually suffered pulmonary infarction in, I think, probably June 2021. I was just wondering whether it ever went through your mind that maybe that injection, all those boosters you took might have caused that. You know, and the question I was going to, and I'll ask this question, were you ever made aware of the fact that Peter Marks was warned that the algorithm was going to hide the safety signals? And were you told that senior FDA officials were given shown dozens of safety signals associated with the COVID injection?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Your diaries now show that you actually suffered
That's good, Efron.
pulmonary infarction, and I think
There's one more clip on this from RFK on this. I think it was on Fox News. And Fauci took the vaccine on TV to prove to people it was safe. Like, that's how far he went. So let's watch this.
Things that was new to me in his diary was his admission that he got pulmonary infarction in July of 2021 after receiving the vaccine. So he took the Moderna vaccine on national TV, telling in a very, very highly publicized press conference to show people that was safe. Then he got one of the primary, most expected adverse events, which was potentially deadly blood clots in his lung, myocardial infarction. He kept that secret from the American public, and we only learned about it because of his diary. He was getting the best medical treatment that is available to anybody in the world at Walter Reed and all these other centers. There were doctors fawning over him. Meanwhile, he was telling other people to take this product and concealing the fact that he himself, after announcing this press conference to show it was safe, had actually gotten very, very sick from an injury that was highly expected and highly likely to be caused by the vaccine.
Yep. And let us not forget that the Moderna vaccine is the one that they gave to the Canadian military. And then after that, they said, actually, maybe we shouldn't be giving Moderna to young, healthy men, which is basically the entire military, or at least it used to be. He got, as RFK points out, the expected injury from the Moderna vaccine and then concealed it from people.
Yeah, you'll remember that Pfizer was given sort of preferential treatment once it started to come out that the myocarditis risk, the blood clots, the less so, but still very much out there, the facial paralysis, the Bell's palsy, all of these sorts of things started to trickle out. And then the government just kind of swiftly gave preferential treatment to Pfizer, at least for a short time being, specifically for those young men under the age of 40. Because those were the ones the data was starting to show and flag were being most affected by these adverse effects. And then you have the likes of the personal embodiment of the science out there on public television, taking the shots, reassuring the public, and then not being forthcoming about what happened to them thereafter. Whether or not that is related, right? There's this whole argument, correlation doesn't equal causation, but it at least needs to be flagged and investigated. And unless we have truth and honesty, then we don't have reliable data and information to move forward. And so you can see, I mean, this is 6 years later. I think it's very clear that the decisions these people made were not based on any sort of evidence or science, but on hysteria. And as pointed out also in this congressional hearing yesterday, massive amounts of money and funding. And it was detailed just how much Anthony Fauci made off of all of this. And his diaries, I mean, these were his official government records, things that he was keeping. He was wanting to write a book about this. And now all of a sudden he's pleading the fifth. What happened to your book that you were writing based on a lot of these notes? Why can't you attest to them? You want to write a book, but you can't attest to them in a hearing? That's direct contradiction to what you said in 2022, that you would be more than happy to explain and attest to the things that you did.
Yeah, he was using his government staff to chase award money for him. Millions in award money. This was all about the two things that these awful Mengele types enjoy. They crave power and control and money. And he ended up with all three. And hopefully it all comes crashing down on him. We've got one video that you put in the chat there of the man who actually confronted Fauci to his face. Was that in Florida? Might have been.
Well, remember at the time they were trying to make sure that they went to, what do they call it? Vulnerable neighborhoods or marginalized
communities, racialized.
Yes, racialized and marginalized neighborhoods, because they were the most distrusting of the government. And so by going door to door and building that rapport, they were trying to build the trust and make sure that vaccine uptake was not compromised no matter what, right? We had that here. It was the same playbook, and, lockstep is what it all comes back down to. we in North America had this lockstep approach to the pandemic, and Anthony Fauci was largely the face of that. And then it, rippled into Canada through the likes of Health Canada and our very own Theresa Tam, who I might add rode off into the sunset with the Order of Canada for her pandemic efforts. But here they are in one of those, quote unquote, marginalized neighborhoods, trying to ensure that vaccine uptake is not compromised and continues unabated. And they're met with this guy who's obviously questioning the science, not trusting the experts. And I believe I remember a clip from this time that basically said, this is the kind of radical anti-vax conspiracy theorist we're dealing with right now. And this gentleman was like considered the face of that at that time. And this is the clip that I just wanted to kind of remind everyone of where things were in 2021 and what Anthony Fauci was saying to the public in these neighborhoods at that time.
The people in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot on a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccinations.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not
it's
like
much
the
more
common
serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that. Something else going on.
It is something going on with
something else.
You're right. But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city. But I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
Someone find me that man.
Right.
Find me that guy.
Yeah, he saw right through it. And just on that note, you know who else saw right through it, who doesn't get enough credit for being right from the very beginning? Governor Ron DeSantis. You know, the Florida governor race that Ron DeSantis won was very close, but he won. And I think it changed the trajectory of the United States during the pandemic. He sort of came out first, gave cover to the other governors who then followed suit. And he was right. He was right. And in that, I saw in Fauci's diaries that he called Ron DeSantis a jerk.
And all throughout his diaries, he's also threatening, to use media as a weapon, like we'll destroy your career. And they did. That illusion of consensus was manufactured by the likes of people exactly like Anthony Fauci, who threatened anyone who so much as questioned him with career-ruining rhetoric if they came forward or were any sort of a dissident or questioned the narrative. And that is all coming out now. What will happen? What's going to happen? I mean, I don't hold my breath on that, but I'm also so disgruntled that nothing like this is happening in Canada. Like where is Theresa Tam?
And it won't as long as the Liberals are in power, right? Because they did this. They did this to us. So they're not going to have some sort of public inquest into the handling of this, because it would show that they knew things that they knew early on just like Fauci did, and then reacted in a way that allowed them to enrich themselves, as is the case with Randy Boissonneau, and I'm sure many others, including Frank Bayless, liberal-linked ventilator manufacturer, and have them maintain their stranglehold on control. Remember, we had an election right in the middle of the pandemic. We couldn't go to church, but we could go and vote for Justin Trudeau. So, yeah, before we get to the chats, there's that clip from Adam Carolla, sort of a dissident comedian, and it's not him talking. He just posted it to X, and it's of the media and how the media talked about people and critics of Fauci. Just so you know that Fauci, when he said he would use the media to ruin your life, this is it in action.
On Twitter, don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. Don't let it dominate your life?
In terms of responding to a comment like that, it's gross.
It's okay to be afraid of COVID, and it's okay that it's dominating your life.
Everyone should be afraid of COVID.
You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
I can't come in, Mom. It's because of this flu thing.
We won't be free of this pandemic until we listen to the acknowledged truth. Listen to the scientists.
Science is truth.
You know, science is truth.
What is the impact to public health when people are openly questioning the science?
Now is the time to do what you're told.
By not hearing the truth, by not listening to the scientists, they are prolonging how bad the economy will be.
When I see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I instantly think you are a threat, or you are selfish, or you are a COVID denier, and you definitely haven't been vaccinated.
Either wear a mask or
What does this have? Are you vaccinated?
I am triple vaccinated.
So why are you wearing a mask?
Seek out the scientists and listen to their advice.
Listen to scientists. Listen to the scientists.
Trust the experts.
We're going to trust science. We're going to trust the experts.
Parents who say, well, I need to do my own research, makes you think of that cartoon I saw of the tombstone that said, I did my own research.
Republicans have given their voters license to believe whatever they want to believe.
Heard somebody saying, listen to the scientists. Do that.
Let's listen to the scientists.
That phrase, do your own research, it's popping up a lot in conversations about coronavirus and about COVID vaccines. Doing your own research, it seems so innocent, but it can have serious consequences. Renee, what are the roots of this phrase? I feel like I used to hear it around QAnon craziness.
Tase somebody over a mask. Tasing this lady over not wearing a damn mask.
If some jerk exposed my mother to COVID because they didn't want to wear a mask, I would want to kill them.
We can watch the experts, but we shouldn't be listening to Trump, a non-medical professional.
Well, the answer is listen to Bill Gates. Bill's right about a lot of things, and he's a steep learning curve in global health.
And we're really seeing just how important it is to follow science.
Yes, exactly. And we need to listen to scientists.
The idea that people are questioning the science behind the vaccine.
The science checks out. Even if you don't believe in the science, you think you're tough enough and you're healthy enough and you're young enough. The scientists were right all along. Eventually, the science catches up with you.
Are we doing more harm than good by questioning the science behind J&J?
Trust that vaccine.
Trust the experts. Listen to the medical experts. Trust the experts.
If you don't understand the science, you don't know what you're fighting.
Just let the experts speak.
So maybe you should just shut up right now.
You don't want to take advice from your golf buddy or from your aunt. You want to listen to the scientists.
Can we all stop saying, I need to do my own research?
You see the ultimate effects of what happens when you don't listen to the scientists.
This isn't about being scared. This is about scaring us straight.
Science, science, and science. Only listen to the scientist.
If we follow the science, imagine, instead of staying locked up in their rooms, they're able to hug their grandchildren. This isn't about freedom. It's about freedom for your neighbors.
You can give each other a hug as long as everyone is fully vaccinated.
Listen to the scientists like the rest of us.
We have to listen to the scientists.
We'll listen to the scientists.
This goes on
Every
for
scientist.
about 4 minutes. It's long, and it doesn't even include the Canadian madness, like the Toronto Star musing, what should we do with the unvaccinated, or all the mean things that Justin Trudeau said about people who time proved to be right. This is the propaganda that the public was inundated with. And for those of you who resisted, who refused to fall in line, good for you. Like, just good for you to have not bought into this fear, because the government now knows who they can control, who they did control. And probably China too, based on the fact that that lady was a stats scan analyst. They probably have that information too. But the people who did this to you, to all of us, to society, they want us to just forget. And there needs to be a reckoning, because people deserve it.
Mm-hmm. And to prevent it from happening again in the future.
Yep.
Right now, we have nothing in place that would prevent any of this from happening tenfold the next time, because we've been repeatedly reminded that the next pandemic is not a matter of if, but when. So we have Memory Hole gives us $5. Thank you very much for that. And this was in back when we were discussing the Biwei Zhang NATO spy. Zhang NATO spy. Was she recommended for employment by one of the 11 CCP affiliated parliamentarians? Yeah, great question. That's how her fraudulent application was overlooked. Find riding that she lived in, and I bet that MP recommended her to the space agency.
Yeah,
I think it was somewhere in BC, wasn't it?
I think so.
Politicians Never Lie gives $5.03. Lena Diab, that is our immigration minister. When under stress, I repeat myself. When under stress, I repeat myself.
And then she blinks her eyeballs right out of her head. Like she's just like clenching her eyeballs open and closed. It's really quite something. It's like she doesn't have eyelids anymore. They just turn into sphincters. She's just like squeezing her eyeballs closed. It's wild. Just watch it when she's at committee sometime. Okay, I think that's the show. We're way over. Oh no, there's one more. Sasquatch Chronicles, $4.99. Science plead the fifth yesterday. Also, Science was given a presidential pardon from a potato. Yeah, I think it was an auto pen pardon all the way back to 2014. Wonder what was going on in 2014.
All of those horrible and horrific experiments and the gain of function research, all of this funding that Fauci has been overseeing for almost the entirety of his career. Yeah, the Wuhan lab, Institute of Virology in Wuhan, China. I mean, it's pretty clear at this point that this was not some sort of wet market, odd jump from a bat to a human, mutated,
or pangolin or whatever.
I think it's pretty clear at this point that this is gain of function affiliated research that came from that lab, and the United States, has put out a congressional hearing, and their findings over a year ago now. They said this likely came from a lab leak, and they listed 5 various reasons why they believe that to be true. And Anthony Fauci is supposed to be the person testifying, that he thinks or knew otherwise, and he's pleading the fifth. So I think at this point it's pretty clear where that came from. And unless we can nail that down and get some truth and honesty about that situation, the rest of it doesn't, and not that it doesn't matter, but we can't have honesty and transparency and accountability on any of it until we have that. And so that I think is the starting point, which we need lawyers, including the fifth for. So with that, I will say more than ever, I always say question everything. And we're here July 30th, 2026, that is truer than ever before. So thanks everybody for joining us, everybody and all of the staff involved in the show that you don't see up in front and center, who make sure that it's possible. Make sure that you can give us super chats and read it on air. Thanks everyone at home for your support and continued viewership. We were right. They lied. And without all of your support at home, we would not be able to do the journalism that we do here. So thank you wholeheartedly for all of that. And we'll be back same time and place tomorrow from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. So come back for more. And until that time, stay sane. Know you were right. and continue to question everything.